Well, hello, everybody. This is Dr. Kemick. I hope you're having a great week, and welcome to our weekly update. Last week, I asked you to think about human capital and the development of talent in your organizations, and I posed 3 questions for you to consider as you were doing your assignments and your readings last week. First, what performance initiatives exist in your organization? 2, how do improvements get started and actually occur within your organization? And what HCD philosophies exist within your organization? And of those 3, or perhaps all 3, I also asked you to consider what you would like to change in your organization, and why you would like to change it, and how. Now, these are pivotal questions in our development as professionals and as scholar practitioners, if you will, and also in our effectiveness in helping our organizations move forward, that is, in making improvements that they need to be successful. Speaking of performance improvement, by now you've realized, or you've known for quite some time, that training is not your only option to improve workplace performance. Now, a lot of our customers or clients or bosses or whomever we're serving, a lot of them have a tendency to think that training is the only solution anytime things go wrong in an organization, and that is absolutely not true. It may actually be a waste of time, effort, and funds to initiate a training when the problem wasn't caused by knowledge or capacity, capability of people, either individuals, teams, or work groups. So you've got to kind of dig much deeper, and that also puts the responsibility on each of us to be able to communicate with our clients, our customers, and work with them, collaborate with them to come to whatever the root causes of our problems are. And that's really the focus of this week, is performance improvement. Now, up to this point, you've been looking at human capital development, theory, research, practice within HRD, and last week you had a good scan of what HRD scholar practitioners are all about. I just want to recap that because it is pertinent to our conversation about performance improvement. They ground their practice in research and theory. They don't go on muscle memory, so to speak, whenever something is needing to be improved in their organizations. They use the latest, they look for the latest and the greatest research. They experiment, they collect data. They're basically conducting research at the same time that they're making their improvements. They're champions of research and theory in the workplace. They not only walk the talk, but they try to pull others in and influence others about using sound research and theory. They conduct and disseminate research and partner with academic researchers. That is, they publish, they make presentations, those kinds of things. And they act as a bridge between research and practice in seeking further development of the field of HRD. Why is that important? Well, remember, we also talked last week about the connections between theory, research, and practice, and that sweet spot where credibility, effectiveness, and result all come together. And the people who are in the best position to do that within our profession are the scholar practitioners. And with that, they are also in the best position to make the best or most effective human performance improvement interventions. Why? Because they have latest, they have sound theory, research backing them up, and they practice based on sound concepts and principles. So they're in a better position than a lot of organizations who simply have a problem. And they have choices, and they may choose to ignore it, make a best guess, and a lot of times that best guess is we need more training, right? or to do whatever it is they've always done. They might get lucky, but most of the time, and the vast majority of time, they will be much more successful if they have a research-based practice. And that comes from being a scholar practitioner and working the theory and research into the interventions that they build. So, if training isn't the only answer, what are some types of performance initiatives? Well, you have 8 types or categories, if you will, available to you. And we're going to go over each one of those. They include, of course, learning, performance support, job analysis, work design, personal development, human resource development, organizational communication, organizational design and development, and financial systems. Learning. We're all familiar with that one primarily. On-the-job training, just-in-time training, self-directed learning fall in that learning category, whether it be online e-learning, blended learning, social learning, in the classroom, those kinds of things, game simulations. There's a myriad of things that we can do and reasons why we should do them, especially if we're focusing on resolving an issue in an organization, and learning is the correct intervention type. Performance support includes, of course, performance support tools like job aids, electronic performance support systems, expert systems, anything that can be readily available on the work site by the employee to access, to walk them through a procedure or task that they don't do very often or very infrequently, and they just need that little extra bit of a checklist to help them through it. Job analysis, work design. These include things like building better job descriptions and specifications, designing jobs to be more efficient and effective, job rotation, job enrichment, re-engineering, ergonomics, safety engineering, security management, continuous improvement, total quality, Six Sigma, and more. Personal development fall into the category of feedback, coaching, mentoring, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, cultural intelligence, communities of practice, anything that the individual can do to improve their effectiveness in working with others. Human resource development, employee development, retention, motivation, performance management, competencies and competency models fall in this category. Performance appraisals, succession planning, career planning, those kinds of things. Organizational communication would include information systems, suggestion, grievance systems, dispute resolution, social media, communication networks. Organizational design and development would include team strategies, virtual teams, problem solving, appreciative inquiry, benchmarking, balanced scorecard, diversity and inclusion, ethics, social responsibility, decision making, anything that the community can learn and do to become a better, more effective organization. And then financial systems, that would be things like becoming a profit, or decide to have a profit mindset instead of a cost center mindset in your business units. Financial forecasting, capital investment, spending, cash flow analysis and forecasting, mergers, acquisitions, anything from a financial point of view that would help the organization become more effective. So there are some foundations for successful intervention design. When you design your interventions, it's important to focus on the expected results. And the expected results should come from a thorough gap analysis, finding out what the root causes of the problem are and what it is you are hoping to achieve. Keep your eye on that, keep your eye on the ball, so to speak. Use systematic and systemic design processes as you approach your interventions. Use the tried and true, the proven, research-based kinds of models and theories that have proven successful. Your intervention should add value. You're going to spend time, effort, and money doing these things. They ought to add some kind of value to the organization. and then partner or collaborate with champions and subject matter experts in order to not only find the root causes of problems, but also to come up with the most effective, cost-efficient solutions possible. Steps of successful design. There's also 8 of those. So verify and clarify the situation. Again, make sure you understand from a systems view what's going on in the organization, what's going on with the problem. Identify those root causes. Identify all elements of the intervention. Create a performance goal and objectives for each element. So you know, have some goals and objectives for each thing that you're trying to improve or change through your intervention, what you want your intervention to accomplish for you. Identify criteria, metrics to evaluate the results. Decide to either purchase or develop the intervention. Sometimes it works to purchase something off the shelf or to purchase a consulting firm services, those kinds of things, or to do it yourself in-house. Create an action plan to design, develop, implement, and evaluate your intervention. Communicate your action plan to all stakeholders. Gain approvals, gain support, buy-in. And then initiate an RFP process, that is request for proposal, if you're going to outsource it, or begin development yourself to put your intervention together. One of your assignments deals with the performance improvement model and some key elements to consider as we look at that model. Having a reliable, systematic way of doing things. It always begins with the performance analysis of the need or the opportunity for improvement. Basically, taking a systems view, finding out what's happening in the environment, what's happening within the organization, what's happening at the people level, and then to determine what the causes are before you start determining which intervention type or what kind of an intervention you want to perform. The intervention selection, design, and development, of course, is the next area that you look at, and we looked at those, learning, performance support, job analysis, and the rest. Whatever is going to get the job done and do it in most efficiently and most effectively is going to be your goal there. And also the one that will help you build a strong business case so that you can get leadership commitment. And remember, your intervention, among other things, has to be feasible and sustainable. You can have a great intervention, but your organization won't be able to do it. Or you can have a great intervention and your organization won't be able to sustain it. So you have to look at those factors as well. So there's a lot involved in selecting your intervention that looks at the entire environment, your people, your organization. Intervention, implementation, and maintenance. Various techniques, always partnering, networking, and building alliances. Employee development, communication, communicate. Remember, this is an organizational change you're dealing with. Manage your project. Project management comes in very handy when you're trying to do things in a systematic way, and this is no exception. And then plan and evaluate your intervention. Your formative level evaluation, basically inputs of the inputs, process, output measures will come from your performance analysis primarily. And then you'll go into summative evaluation, which will include things like reaction, learning, that is knowledge, skills, attitude changes that happen, down to application of that learning on the job, or is the organization or the people within the organization doing what they need to do to make the intervention work and be effective, whether that is a learning intervention, a performance improvement, or something else are they using. Confirmative evaluation of the intervention being sustainable. What are the results? Are people more effective? Is the organization more effective? Are operations more efficient? What is the impact? What is the business impact in the organization? And what is the value? That is cost over investment. And then finally, a meta evaluation, looking at everything, the summative, the formative, the confirmative inputs, process, outputs. How's everything working together, and what are your measures telling you? Success stories, lessons learned, celebrations, they should be shared. And that is a success to locking in the change in your change management cycle, locking in your improvement, keeping it sustainable. Week 3 assignments. Discussion board 3, you're going to explain an example of the goals and processes, methods for each category of analysis. It's performance, organizational, environmental, gap, and root cause analysis in the workplace. That goes right back to the performance improvement process that we just looked at. It was the first area of concern. Post due by tomorrow, Wednesday, and a response to your peer or one other student, of course, at least one other, by Friday at 11:55. Also, your infographic comes up this week. Create an infographic that presents and supports the main points from the article you read from your executive summary. It's due on Friday. Also, be sure to review the infographic rubric posted on the assignment page. It'll help. Week 4 assignments, excuse me. You're going to describe your infographic from week 3 in discussion board 4. Just make sure you attach your infographic to the discussion board and write a narrative to explain your infographic. Attach it as well. Thank you. That will be due next Wednesday, the 9th, and your peer response will be due on Friday. Well, that was an awful lot to cover in a very short amount of time. I'm available if you need me. Shoot me a message, call me, text me. I'm here. Until next time, have a great week. Signing off.